25th, Brooklyn, Atlanta, Orlando, Indianapolis, Houston, and now,
Yeah.
Black Ink Radio.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. Hey, Rich.
Hi.
I missed you. Okay, so.
Missed you too.
Did you? Okay. Today, I have a special guest with me. His name is Julian Rainwater, and he's actually a native to the area. So, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but he has this hookah situation set up. The flavor is so bomb. So, yes, he actually owns a mobile hookah service out here by the name of Alpha Wolf. And, so I'm going to let you tell us about your business.
So, how you guys doing tonight? My name is Julian Rainwater. First of all, let me tell you where I'm from. I was adopted from Peru, South America, and I was brought to the States when I was 3 months old. I was adopted by a single Caucasian woman who then later adopted a little girl from China, so I have a Chinese sister. So it's there's a lot of multicultural thing going on there, you know. But I grew up in Buckhead, so Buckhead is where I'm from. Growing up and seeing Buckhead develop over the ages has been quite an incredible sight to see, as far as the gentrification and all that stuff. So I am a hookah master. I am known as the hookah master of Buckhead. I've done hookahs all over Atlanta. Let's see, places you might know: Zari, O2, Atlantis, Goli Garden, Sahara, Lily White, Aura. Those are some of the places that I've worked at, and I've loved every single part of it. I just love customer service. I love serving people good stuff. So,
Okay. So when did you start? When did you start?
So I first started smoking hookah when I was 16.
Not hookah. I mean, I meant your business.
Oh, my
when
business.
Did you actually start venturing out versus working in a club?
Right. So it's actually 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was about 2 years ago that I started it. I got friends and lots of my customers, my loyal customers, said, "Look, why don't you just do your own thing?" And I said, "You know what? I think I should." So I ventured out and I did my own thing, and it's been great. Of course, when it gets cold, it's more of the slow season. But during the summer, it was hitting, it was popping, it was a lot.
Of course, when everybody's outside, right? When everybody's outside,
Yeah,
right? Okay. Okay. So actually, also asked you to be on my show because I wanted to touch on a certain topic, and it pertains to your pretty much your whole life. Am I correct?
Yes.
So today the topic is adoption, and we know that most of the time it's hard for kids to get adopted, not kids, but older kids, more in the teens and all that extra.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
So, when were you said that you were adopted at 3, correct?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, 3
Okay,
months
so
since I
you've
was a
been
baby.
with her for your whole life.
Yeah.
That's mommy for real.
Yeah. So how was it growing up?
Oh, yeah. So growing up was a very positive experiences. Yes, there were some setbacks. As far as going with finding who I was and where I came from, that was probably the roughest part of my life. It took a toll on my mental health. It's not all like gravy, as people say. Well, you're adopted, so you got money and all this stuff. That's not how it works. Not at all. With our mental state and our mental capabilities and what we go through, trying to find out what race we actually belong to because we're displaced. Now, adoption is seen as something beautiful that you're reaching out to a child that needs a new life, that is reaching for a new life.
Watch your back, bro, because it's definitely gonna fall on you.
So it's definitely something that grows within you where you can't associate with your own race sometimes because those people look at you, but then they look at your parents and they're like, "You're different from us because you're raised differently, not from your traditional culture." So that was probably the hardest thing for me. Yeah. The Latino community did not accept me for who I was because I was from a Caucasian mom. I was not Catholic, and I didn't wear their type of clothing, and I didn't speak Spanish fluently. I couldn't get it from ear because I didn't grow up with it. I grew up with English. And the other races, the one race that appreciated me and reached out and loved me for who I was the African American, Black, Caribbean, African community. They loved me for who I was, and I truly appreciate that because they were very open, very loving, and that's where I found my home. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. And there are other things that I went through, such as bullying, but now I've grown to where I am now, and I was able to develop myself into my tribal beginnings, Incan Amazonian. And so those are my tribal roots, Inca, Amazonian. And recently I did the 23andMe.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I did see that on your page.
Yeah.
What is that for people that don't know?
Yeah, so the 23andMe is where you can buy a kit offline, and you do a spit culture, and you send it back to them. And you can buy different packages to figure out your genetic health codes, your family trees that date back way back. But it also tells you what percentage of what race you have in your bloodline. And I found out recently that I am 2.9% West African, Ghanaian, Sierra Leonean, and Liberian. So I thought that was very cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Is this your what? Okay, because I'm pretty sure there's other ways to figure that out. What made you choose that specific company?
So Ancestry is a big one that other clients use. But Ancestry what I'm understanding of Ancestry is that at first it began with the United States. So it was reaching out for the people in the U.S. Now, me being international, me being from Peru, 23andMe offers more of international bloodlines. Currently, though, Ancestry has reached out, and now they're doing international ones, to my knowledge. And so I'm waiting for that culture to come so I can do that test as well, because I am trying and hoping that I do make a connection with someone in my family.
Through that.
Family, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, quick question. So, you already knew that you were from Peru. Did you, kind of search, their records and stuff first? Or you just went straight to the...
So, when I was 16 years old, my adopted mother, she helped me search for my birth family. She hired some investigators that specialized in this kind of operation, and we went back to Peru, and we learned some things that happened to my family, such as the death of my mother, father disappearing, my other brother, we don't know where he is. So that's where we connected those dots. So it brought a little bit of closure, even though I would like to see if there's anybody else left, because it is a hard, deep feeling inside where you want to know where you come from. You want to know what your parents were like. A lot of people that I've encountered, including some of the women that I've dated or close people that I have in my life, when I tell them this, a lot of people say, well, you should be lucky. You should be lucky, because you are blessed to have a family like this. And I'm like, yes, I am very grateful. But at least you knew your parents, your birth parents. I don't know mine. So that's an empty void that is constantly within me, and in my mind and in my heart, that I'm having, that I want to figure out.
Since you talked about mental health and how it kind of messes with your mental health, do you feel like that's a trauma?
It is definitely a trauma. I am not embarrassed to say, and I'm actually proud that I have sought therapy for my adoption abandonment issues. And that is a crucial thing for us adoptees, because a lot of us, we don't know where we come from, and we don't know the circumstances of what our parents were going through most of the time. So that was a very traumatic experience, especially when I was 16, when we got the information back that my birth mother died at her young age, shortly after I was born. So maybe 3 or 4 years after I was born, and she was 26 or something. So she didn't live her full life out. So I've already outlived her. So just think about the healthcare systems that they had in Peru. She died from lung tuberculosis, and now TB vaccine, good. That's what we have now. But back then, They didn't have that in 1990, and Peru is still an impoverished country. So, yeah, it's tough.
Wow.
Crazy. It just goes to show though, because a lot of people, people never think about what other people go through. People sit there and they work, so they wish, I wish I had a rich family, or I wish I had this or that or this, and they don't realize that there's things that other people have which you might not have, but wish for what you have. Some things might be a little more important. Like if they didn't have their parents, they might know how important it is to at least know who your parents are. Like money ain't everything, and neither is having a family. Yeah. Sometimes having a family can be great, but not knowing where you come from sounds like, listening to you talk, it sounds deep. Like if I didn't know where I came from, I probably would want to know, and that would be something I would want to go after and understand. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand it. Sometimes people just gotta broaden their horizons and be a little more empathetic to what other people go through and how things may affect someone.
Right. It's crucial.
Yeah.
For real.
So, you stated that your mother had also adopted another child, right?
Yes.
And she was of a different race as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. She's adopted. She is 29 now.
Okay. Grown woman.
Yeah. She's doing great. She's living in New York.
Okay.
Working hard. But as far as our experiences go, I mean, I'm not going to speak on hers, but there's definitely a difference. With adoptees, one adoptee may not really care or may not have a urge to find their family, and that's cool. That's what it is. But for those that do, they could go their whole lives with this internal pain and trauma that will keep them going, keep that drive up. But she and I got closer as we grew up, because when we were kids, we weren't really close, but then we grew up, and now we're a lot closer, and I love her very much. She's, even though we're not the same blood line, like scientifically, we are still family blood close. And I thank her and my mom for helping me through this process continuously. I mean, it's been a yearly process that I've been going through. I got my ups and downs. Sometimes I'll succeed, sometimes I'll be at a low. But yeah, it's quite the process.
So, other than your sister, have you met anybody else who's been in your situation?
When my mother went down and adopted me, she went with a group of other Americans, and they all adopted kids, and a lot from Peru. So as I was growing up, we all maintained friends, a close bond, and we would have cookouts and stuff, and have us adoptees hang out and play like soccer and stuff, and that was cool. But from my knowledge, a lot of them were actually able to find their parents.
Wow.
So there's definitely that difference where, again, some adoptees may not want to, some might not care, but then the ones that do, some of them are lucky, and some aren't. But it was good to have that bond and that secure system in place with other adoptees to kind of balance off each other and give each other strength. Of course, now they're doing their own thing. I don't keep in touch with them. So yeah.
So when I told you what our topic was today, you told me that you actually have been in the same type of situation.
Similar, as far as my mother adopting kids, well, adopting my cousins because her sister had passed away. But like I said before that, it was just us. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lifestyle. It was a life change. But it makes us not look at each other as cousins, but more like sisters and brothers now. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like we don't look at it like, oh, that's my cousin. I'm like, that's my sister. That's my brother. It was for them. That's why I wanted to ask him also, because my cousins look at my mom like their mom as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel about the woman that adopted you and how does it affect her with you looking for your parent, your real parent? So
Good
hard.
question.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I actually have heard that quite a few times. People say, "How is your adopted mom taking this?" I first asked my adopted mom when I was adopted, when I was 8 years old. I said, "Mom, why is my hair darker than yours? Why is my skin color darker than yours? What is why am I different?" And that's when she said what she said, and she said that, "Well, you were adopted. I came and I took care of you from Peru, and it was traumatic for her because that's when I came, kind of became of age where when I was noticing things like I'm very different. Why is my family, like all the other relatives, different than me?" And for her, it was difficult, but she really did a fantastic job, and she loved me, she cared for me, she showed her support. The one night that I know that I may have caused a little pain was that night that she told me, when I took 2 pieces of printer paper and I drew a picture of her with glasses and kind of an older woman, still lovely, very lovely. But then I drew my birth mother and how I saw her with long flowing hair, dark hair, more of an oval face. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's how I saw her. So that right there was a huge psychological jump in my mind, and for my mom, I'm sure it was hard. I'm sure it was difficult, but she's been very supportive. And I know it's been tough for her a lot of times, but just moving forward, and she's been very supportive. So,
Where did you get that image of your mom?
of
your biological mom?
Yeah, that is one of the mysteries of my life, and that I can't even fathom. I don't even understand where. It was just, I closed my eyes and I pictured this woman, this young woman, my skin tone, my color hair, long. That's just how I picture her. And then when I actually saw the only picture that I have of her, which is on her certificate, which is on her identification record, she looked just like this. It was really interesting. It was a very
You felt that.
experience. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's my mother, my adopted mother, and she has done a lot of the hard work to get me to where I am, to help support me and teach me things, and as far as me being her son, her caring for me and teaching me the morals and values of what a man should be, as far as family, a woman, and taking care of people around him. So, I mean, she's been truly great. Truly
good.
That's dope.
That's good. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
Because, everybody's always in an in-between about people, especially, in the interracial adoption.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some horror stories about adoption. There's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of horror stories.
But, I don't know. People, because you always, when it comes to that, when children are adopted into families that, like you said, are different races, it kind of, I've seen 2 types of situations. When it's a black woman and a white child, it's like, what are you doing with this kid?
Right.
But when it's with, the white woman and the black kid, or it's perfectly fine.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. But that's what I mean by there's a lot of notions and stuff that goes on with that. And I'm so glad that you actually are an example of a really great situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
that's amazing.
I've heard some things.
Yeah.
It could be bad sometimes, but it's just good that you had a great, you had a good experience, and hopefully you do get to find out more of what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's with the positive experience about my mother being so supportive on it. It's quite interesting because a lot of people, they weren't as supportive. Like some people that I thought were my friends, people that I would meet, even the women that I would date, and even recently in the past, they would kind of challenge it, and they would be like, "You sound like you're ungrateful. What is wrong with you?" And I'd say, "No, I love my mom and my sister and my family very much, but I have the right to feel that pain, to hurt, to want to find where I come from." And they'll say, "Well, aren't you what they made you?" I'm like, that's only part of it. There's still that inner feeling, the soul, the spirit that wants to make that tie to my roots, to my people. So that was the
Wow.
And that's the thing. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Where it's like people put themselves in people's shoes when they don't understand what's going on.
Yes.
Like, how could you sit there and judge you and call you ungrateful when they're not in your shoes and don't know what you feel? You know, I'm sure you're very grateful for everything, but shit, just because I got my cake don't mean that I don't want icing. I'm supposed to say, "Oh, you got me a cake, thank you," and I'm supposed to be quiet about icing. I want some icing. What's wrong with that? You know, you're a person and you want what you want, and you know, people don't understand the importance of certain things. Some things are important to people, and if it's important to you, it's all right to ask for it. It doesn't make you. It doesn't mean you don't appreciate what you already have. You get what I'm saying? I don't like when people do that. When you say something, and they're like, "But what? Don't I do this for you? Don't I do all?" You do, and I appreciate that. But we're not talking about that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We're talking about this. It's nothing, you know. So sometimes people gotta get a better understanding before they speak. Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah.
I would say for the adoptees that are going through what I've gone through or have already gone through it, understand that you are different. It's okay. It's all right to be different.
Facts.
You don't have to grow up, be molded by that family you were brought into.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest expectations that a lot of adopted parents think, is that they can mold those kids. Since I'm taking this kid, I can mold this kid into
what I want. Yeah.
Right. But we still have the genetic code and the behaviors that our parents have, that our other, that our birth family.
I was about to say that.
That's good.
That needs to be brought up, like, to even people that are running these adoption places or foster care, because that's something that's real. Like, there's things that my mother say that I'd say that I never heard my father say, but he said it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's things that, like you say, are passed on. You know, and honestly, you know, when people adopt kids, they should really get some of that background.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can know what you're dealing with.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you might have a kid coming on to you that might need certain type of attention, or might, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know who their parents were and what. It's just a lot deeper than just thinking, oh, because he's raised in this household, he's gonna be like this. Right. He's gonna be like me. He's gonna be like my little brother. He's gonna be like, you know. That's that you can't think that, because genetically there's some things that just tied to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's the common error is brought up amongst the adoptive parents is it's hard for them to accept who we become a lot of the time. Because, of course, I mean, just like we've been discussing, we're not going to be just like them. I mean, even though we were raised in the household. Now, some of us do acclimate a lot better, but for the ones that are more of a rebel. So for me, I was more of the rebel. I would get into fights at school, but that's only because I was bullied a lot in my life, so I got tired of it, and I decided to fight back, and then I got put in ISS, in school suspension, and all that stuff. But with the behavioral patterns that we have, a lot of us have, we have, like, some of us have mental issues that we got from our parents, or things that were passed down, or behavior patterns that can come off as more aggressive or more emotional or more unstable. And the way that we are grown up, displaced, put into a community, a family that's not our own, especially when we find out, wait a second, I'm different from you.
Yeah, this ain't right.
Then that really screws our mental capacity up and just makes it more difficult for us to handle life.
Right.
So that's why I highly suggest to the adoptees out there, seek help. Seek the help of other adoptees that are going through it. Seek therapists, because it's a really good thing. and I've done that, and it has helped me quite a bit, especially with my behavioral patterns that I've experienced and that I have that I express towards people that I care about, people that I love. Yes, I have pushed away good people because of me not understanding who I was. And the aggression and the anger, that's real. And people will say, well, you're just crazy. And it's like, no, we're not.
Yeah,
You don't know what I'm going through internally. So, yeah.
Wow.
So did she have any kids of her own?
She actually never married. She raised us as a single mother. So, yeah, she took it upon herself to adopt 2 children and raise us as a single mom.
Okay.
It was not, from that time, I had never seen her with anybody long term. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm proud of her.
So she's never had kids though, even before y'all.
No, she never had children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was another question I had. You know, sometimes being
Yes.
adopted into a family that
Yeah.
already has kids, that could be traumatizing as well.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Because that is something that I hear a lot about, and that you see in movies. You see is that there's an adopted kid that comes into the family, and then that parent might favor that kid more because the other kid has been there. It's like, I already know you, but now I got to show my love to this kid.
Right.
And then there'll be a rivalry, and that's definitely not healthy at all for the family. So, and that thing, those really happen. So, unfortunately, I was not brought up in that type of family, so I cannot speak on what that may feel like, other than I was brought up with another adopted child, and again, when we were little, we were knocking heads, but now they're both adults, we're more mature. There's definitely a love there. So
That's dope.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're going through your journey and trying to find yourself and figure it out. Well, you seem like you kind of know what's going on with you.
yeah.
But that's pretty neat. I would do that 23andMe.
Yes.
But I'm scared that the government gonna keep it, or they may.
They
keep
got it
my-
already.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
see-
They got it already. Once you was born, they got that because they got a copy of your blood already. They know your blood type. They know everything about you. They don't need them to give it to them. These people are using washed up versions of what the government got. The government can tell you everything, nigga. This your parents. This is what happened. This is them. The government knows everything. Trust me. They don't need you to go to somebody else to get that info. Every time you went to the hospital and got a needle or whatever, all they need if all they need is saliva, the government got way more information than they got.
Facts. Okay.
True.
That's the okay.
Yeah,
that's
nothing to worry
logical.
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make it easier for them.
They already got
Is
it.
Okay.
They already got it. Trust
So
me.
maybe I will try to. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, why not?
Figure it
Yeah,
out
they
and
could be-
backtrack.
You're
and-
just giving
Yeah.
saliva. It's not,
yeah.
Now,
not that crazy.
I will say that when it comes to that kind of stuff, so 23andMe is awesome because it gives you this opportunity to create a profile, and it'll connect people who have done it as well. So, for instance, I have a family tree that's made out, and I can see my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th cousins now. I tried to reach out to one of my 3rd cousins. She's in North Carolina. I'm not going to disclose her name, but she's I reached out to her, spoke to her a little bit. She said she would try to help me on my journey, so I'm really appreciative of her. Yeah, that's pretty big.
That's neat.
That
Yeah.
is dope. See,
Yeah.
it's a good thing that come from it.
Yeah.
You may have a twin sister somewhere.
But there is one thing that
hope
I do, that I've heard other horror stories from that stuff, which, it's all part of life. But people will find out if their mom or dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what, that
That
wasn't
too.
my
real.
dad did what? My
That
mom did
too.
what? Yeah. So, yeah.
Because then you find out somebody not your real parent.
Yeah. Do you really
yeah.
want to go down those
I mean,
roads?
the good thing about me is I'm gonna be real with you. So I was walking somewhere in my older years, and somebody looked at me and said, "Wait, Bert and Rich had a kid." They looked at me and saw both my parents. So I was looking like both of them. I looked like my mother when I was younger. I looked like my father a little later. So it's like, I know I'm good, unless she did something with his brother. Other than that, I'm good. So I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Because I look like both of them, you know what I'm saying? But I do feel you, because that could be, man, you'd be traumatized. Like,
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
heck?
somebody's
Then
break.
you're opening up a whole nother can of worms.
Right.
Because my daughter a little light skinned, so I don't know. Me and her mom brown.
You
But
so cool.
she looked like me too, though. So. But you never know. But that is scary, you know.
Yeah, it's a scary thing.
Then you might even find out that one of their parents went off.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
yeah, like, nah, that ain't your grandfather.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Whole lot of family secrets.
But that's
coming out.
interesting. I would like that anyway. I would
Yeah.
want to know. Like, Grandma?
I mean, I don't even know that type of
Grandma was getting down.
side
Grandma
of
was getting
things,
busy.
but I would like to learn like
Yeah.
my roots and stuff like that. Because sometimes listening to my aunties, I don't know. I don't know if they telling the truth or not. So
Oh, they was trying to tell you it ain't right?
no, you know, when I would ask like, you know, where our people come from and stuff like that, they'll tell me places, but I'm like, is this true?
Like, is this really real?
Yeah, you know.
Well, find out for yourself.
I think I will.
Why not?
That sounds very interesting,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
and very educational. I
Yep.
think I need to educate myself more on where I come from, my roots, and stuff like that. And maybe I'll find some cousins I like, and
You never know.
you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Educate yourself on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people don't really do that enough.
Nope.
More concerned about what's going on, social media and all that stuff, and you know all that stuff that can be important, but really isn't important.
Right.
So, yeah, it's good to focus on yourself and learn, you know, where you truly come from.
And it might explain some things to you.
Yeah, definitely.
You might be like, damn, that's why I act like that. The hell? That's why
Yeah.
I like running through the woods naked.
You stupid.
I am a wolf. I didn't know
Guilty,
that.
guilty. Yeah, I've done
Guilty.
That, yeah.
All right.
I've done that. Yeah.
He said, that's me.
That's me.
And now I know why.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm happy for you
Thank you.
that you're able to go, you know, do this, because it could. I'm pretty sure it can be mentally exhausting.
It is.
as well.
It's very straining. There's been a lot of anger in my life, and that's something that the therapy, as well as recent therapy, has helped with, because it truly is an empty void where you're seeking it continuously and it doesn't stop. So that's where you have to meet the aggression and then a level of balance with peace and solitude, as far as knowing that everything's going to be okay,
Yeah.
because you have people that support you. And even if you don't, you have yourself, and that is the proof of you are. So somebody told me this very crucial, like, sentence. And I was like, wow, I never thought of it like that. But what they said was this to me. What they said was, you're searching for your mom and dad. Okay, I get it. You found out that your mom's passed. Your dad may or may not still be out there. But here is one thing. You are what they are. So just continue to learn more about yourself, and that may be the key that'll tell you how they were. Now, of course, I get that, you know, because I am of what they make, you know. But I still want to know them. I still want to know how they were. And yes, I may have those behavioral patterns and things that they had, you know. So it will shed a light on that a little bit, but it won't truly fulfill that void still.
Well, you might should be looking for some brothers and sisters now.
Yeah.
Of theirs, you know, family
Yeah.
members, so that you can find out how they were, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Trying to find my older
definitely.
brother is what is my current quest, my pursuit, is to trying to find my older brother.
That's
Hopefully
fine.
he's still out there.
See, the
I
fact
hope
that you
so,
know you got one is
too.
crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. He's like 6 years older than me.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
he
you
was
guys
about
are
6,
close.
7 when he got
Yeah.
adopted, right?
Yeah. So,
Wow. Okay. Well, I pray that it works out for you.
yes, thank you very
Facts.
much.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Can
Those
you
things.
do me a favor? Drop your Instagram.
Oh yes, all right. So, my Instagram, where you guys can find all of my other Instagrams, my photography, my videography page. I'm a professional videographer and photographer as well as my hookah page. You can find me at alphawolf_God07. So that's ALPHA Wolf WOLF _God GOD07. Alpha Wolf _God07. That's where you can find me.
Rich, what can they find you? Which?
Oh, you know where they can find me at? You can find me in the A. You know what I'm saying? Nah, Richmo 718 on all platforms. RICHMO 718. Also on Black Ink Radio. Make sure you download the app Black Ink Radio on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned
Period.
in.
Period.
Period.
And you can definitely follow me at _ Brittany Tierra.
Period.
And that's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's just it. And I hope you guys like really had a good night with us.
Hey.
You.
And I'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
You're now tuned in to Black Ink Radio.
Turn up